What's up and good morning? Welcome back to another video, guys. This is as far as I'm driving my truck. That's it. I don't know if you guys can see above me, but we have had some crazy-ish weather, or at least on and off weather here in the last 2 days. That's why the truck has really been sitting. And now I know you're saying, now Rhino, why'd you build a truck? You ain't gonna drive it in the rain. Don't become like Eddie. But hear me out, hear me out. The reason I don't want to drive it in the rain, and the reason I'm really actually trying to make this video fairly quickly, because according to the weather radar, we've got another batch of rain coming here in about, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes, maybe an hour. But the reason I don't want to drive it in the rain, especially today, is because last night we got a ton of wind that came through, and the roads are just littered with debris everywhere. And the second you drive on that stuff with a little bit of moisture on the road, all it does is just cake the entire side of your truck. Now I'm sure you're saying, who cares? Just go out and drive it. Well, the reason I don't want to is there's actually another truck meet happening up this weekend. I'm not 100% sure if I'm gonna go, but it's like a big fundraiser, Toys for Tots kind of thing, bring an unwrapped toy for a kid and all that. And well, if I'm gonna go to that, obviously I want the truck clean, and I don't want to spend 4 hours getting all the rain crap off the truck before we go, since Josh spent like 8 hours the other day detailing it. Now I must say though, that is quite a nice looking lineup right there. We got a little bit of something for everybody, you know? And since we got rain coming, we'll go ahead and put our flags away here. Show you guys just how quickly the speed poles disassemble off your truck. There you go, pull this off. Take your spiked top there, put it in the pole that's remaining. Now you can't take this entire thing off. It just takes the 2 bolts right there and you can take the entire pole out. I like to leave them like this with the spike top on. It's a little decorative. And since we're up here in the back of the truck next to all the sponsorship decals, I think today is a good day to talk about sponsorships. I get tons and tons and tons of emails asking, how do you get your truck sponsored? Will I sponsor you? We get a lot of stuff like that, so I figured let's just wrap it all up into one video and hopefully answer every single one of your guys' questions. So first of all, let's talk about sponsorships. Basically what a sponsorship is a company either reaches out to you, you reach out to them, you guys make an arrangement for either a free part, a discount on a part, or, you know, service, whatever it may be, and in return you need to provide something to where obviously they're going to get their money's worth, whether it be social media posts, YouTube, whether it be you go to truck shows, whatever it is, they obviously need to get some value out of whatever they've given you. So it is absolutely a contract. Now whether the company actually makes you sign a formal contract or not, that just depends on the company, but it is something that should be taken very seriously. And if a company extends out to you a free part, you need to be willing to put in the work to tag them in posts to make sure you get enough content for them. It actually is a lot of work. I know it sounds like, well, I post on Instagram all the time, it's no big deal, but to keep up with tagging everybody, with giving quality posts, it becomes a lot. So just before you even jump into it, know what you're signing up for. So let's take a second to go across the sponsors that you see here on the back window. Now some of these are sponsors, some of these are not, in terms of I paid full price, but they put out a quality product, so I wanted to make sure they were represented. So I'm gonna give you guys a breakdown on what I got for free, what I paid for, all that just real quick. Odyssey Battery, they sent me batteries for free. True Spike sent me free lug nuts. Tri-Ace sent me free tires. Air Raid sent me a free intake. Bolt Lock sent me free bolt lock, trailer pin locks and padlocks, and an actual cable lock, pretty sweet. Roadwire did the interior for free. Gen Y sent me a free hitch. Ultimate Air Ride gave me a little bit of a discount. Preston's obviously does all the work and takes care of me on a lot of pricing. Obviously Work For Apparel, that's me, who paid for all the really expensive stuff on the truck. Bulletproof suspension, they built a kit that they didn't have, it didn't exist. And I'm pretty sure I paid a fair price for it. And I don't think I got a really big discount on it or anything, but just the fact that they were willing to take care of me on my request and build me the lift kit that I wanted, they're on there. Legends Off-Road gave me a discount on my lighting. Speed Pole, free speed poles. Speed Pole always takes care of me. Same with C4 Off-Road. I got all the C4 lighting for free. The Mark My Tires got for free. DB Customs, he was just willing to crank out a custom work for grill in time for SEMA. But you know, paid full price for that. And then SR Designs. Now, SR Designs is actually like a management group. And then obviously Flog Industries gave me a discount on the bumpers. And there's a couple other people not mentioned on here, but before we jump into what a management company is, let me just say all the products that you saw that were free for the truck, that was after the truck was built, which will come into play in a second. But let's talk management company. So SR Designs is a management company. Now there's a couple of different ways you can go about getting sponsorships, but let's just start at the beginning. So you want to come up with a new build. Say you want to go to SEMA, whatever it may be. Number one, and this is step number one, do not skip this step. Just go out, spend the money, do it. Get a rendering made. There's a lot of rendering companies out there. Strictly Custom Designs did this one. I know Innovative Designs is doing a bunch of stuff. There's a lot of different guys that can do renderings. But get you a good quality rendering, because, well, that's what you're presenting to companies, saying, hey, this is what I'm gonna build. Can I get you on board? So obviously for the BBB build, the truck that we're sitting in right now, and for those of you that are new to the channel and don't know what the BBB build is, BBB stands for Bigger, Badder, Better Build. So obviously my last truck was a Silverado. That truck was taken from me by a drunk driver. So being that we were gonna come back with another build, I wanted to do it bigger, I wanted to do it better, and I wanted to do it better. So BBB, the Bigger, Better, Badder Build. I know it's 4 Bs, but it sounds better 3 Bs than a B. I don't know. So with my old Silverado, I was actually supposed to have that truck in SEMA. I was in talks. We were about a week away from signing a contract for it before I got hit by a drunk driver. So with this truck, I knew, all right, it's time for redemption. Let's gear ourselves towards a SEMA build. So first step I did, and more so for me, just to help me make decisions on the truck, was I had a rendering done. Strictly Custom Design. You guys have probably seen the rendering 100 times by now. Now with that rendering, I have basically a blueprint for the truck. And I can go either do my own legwork and send it to companies saying, here's what I would like to do. I would love for you guys to be a part of my build. Here's my plans for it, and let me know if you'd like to jump on board. Or you deal with a management company. And what a management company does is they've already established contacts at a bunch of different companies, and they've already got an in with the marketing guys, with whoever it is at that company that would be able to distribute parts for builds of this caliber. So because I do not have an unlimited time, and I realize the value of letting somebody that's already established the contacts deal with it for you, I went with SR Designs to basically manage my entire liaison between companies and getting me to SEMA. And for obvious reasons, I can't get into the contracts on any of the stuff that I signed, but when you would see parts in my other videos that would just show up at my doorstep unannounced without me even knowing, that was SR Designs kind of coordinating all that for me. So Sean over there did an awesome job. He got me a lot of killer parts that I wanted for the truck without even me having to ask. So it makes it really nice because number one, it becomes Christmas a lot, but number two, you get stuff that you didn't even really plan on. Now, keep in mind, just because a company sends you parts doesn't mean they're going to pay for the labor. They're going to pay to get them powder coated. They're going to pay to get them painted. Depending on what the situation is, that's all on you. So let me tell you kind of exactly what I did, or the process that I went through. So came up with the rendering. Then I reached out to Bulletproof Suspension and said, hey, I would like to see if you guys can build this coilover setup for me. And they agreed. And then in the meantime, I was going back and forth on the rear setup. We finally settled on Ultimate Air Rides, and we got that kit ordered, and they started going on that. Now, mind you, I'm paying for that. I'm paying for the rear. And then I ordered my wheels, which you guys know, these wheels were quite the debacle, but those wheels and tires were paid full price for. So essentially at this point, I've already got pretty much a complete truck. Suspension's done, wheels and tires are done. And aside from like the little details all the way around, you could either take it or leave it as a complete truck. And it was at that point that I jumped on with SR Designs, and that's when we started to kind of reach out to companies and see if we could find a good fit for this truck, because I knew I wanted to get the truck into SEMA. And as you guys know, we actually ended up working with Dub for SEMA, which meant the wheels and tires that I bought and paid for weren't going to be on the truck for SEMA. Now, they made it right, and they sent me out a set of wheels and tires, which, you know, those were the 24s that were on the truck. And I know a lot of you guys liked the look of 24s, but I got to get good use out of both sets because, well, I already bought and paid for this set, and this set matches the truck. I didn't have time to match the other set to the truck before SEMA. So once I had a booth, because that's one of the big important things. A lot of companies, especially if you're telling companies you're going to SEMA, they want to know what booth you're going to be in. That's important to them because what kind of exposure are they going to get? Are you for real is one thing they're trying to figure out. So now that I already had a booth, that's when things started to get serious. So, you know, there was only a couple of companies that I reached out to personally. One of which was Flog Bumpers, who was awesome the entire process of jumping on board with the BBB build. The other was DB Customs for the grill. And then obviously Legends Off-Road. Me and Gio have been talking for years. So that was pretty much who I reached out to for the build. And by the way, none of these things were free. This was all full price. They gave me a bit of a discount on these, and then gave me a bit of discount on these. And speaking of that, here's one thing that a lot of people fail to realize. It's not like these trucks just get built completely from sponsors. Maybe that's the situation in a few certain cases, which congratulations to those people that pull that off, but for the average guy like me, you're paying for almost everything you see on the truck, especially the big components. So for those of you that ask me the most what it takes to get sponsors for a SEMA truck or for a show truck, well, first you gotta spend about 100 grand, then sponsors will start to look at you. So let's say you're not going to SEMA, you're not building the craziest show truck you can build, but you want to reach out to get sponsors for whatever your build is, or you go to local shows, whatever it may be. You need to approach these companies in a very professional manner. Now, I know I tell you guys plenty of times that Instagram direct messages is where it's at in terms of being able to reach out to companies. Emails can go unanswered, phone calls will probably lead you not to the right place, but if you can reach out to their social media person on Instagram, it's a much better chance you're going to get directly connected with the person you need to. But the problem with Instagram is it makes it hard to actually send like a formal request to somebody because it's just a weird format. But however you reach out to them, make sure you do it in a professional manner. Outline what you're going to do with the truck. Have a rendering of what the truck's supposed to look like, or if the truck's already built, send it to them. You know, send them a few high quality pictures, and then let them know what you're offering them, because obviously you're trying to get a free part, but like I said earlier, they need to get their money's worth out of it. So if you are scheduled to be at a certain amount of shows, make sure you let them know. If you have a big YouTube channel, if you have a big Instagram page, let them know what you bring to the table, because obviously you're going to be marketing their product. And then here's one very, very, very important thing, and I don't want to feel like I'm being mean to anybody. I don't want to break anybody's hearts or crush anybody's dreams, but the vehicle's important. And I'm not, like I said, I'm not trying to be a dick about this, but if you're trying to present your old beat up 1992 two-wheel drive Ranger to a company saying, hey, I'm trying to get this thing into SEMA, you know, sponsor me, you're not going to get a response. And like I said, I'm not trying to be mean, but know what you have, and that is important. Know what vehicle you have. Be realistic with your dreams. I mean, if you're going to take that 1992 Ranger and you're going to completely remove the chassis from it and you're going to put it on some diesel swap on 44s and you're going to build the craziest, baddest 1992 Ranger in the world and you have a sweet rendering for it, then by all means go for it. But if you've got some old beat up truck that's been, you know, your daily driver, you got 300,000 miles on it, there's a good chance companies aren't going to respond to you. And like I said, I'm just trying to be realistic with you guys so you don't get your expectations up. And that's not to say you got to be some big baller to get on the show truck level. I mean, if you have the talent, you have the ability, you want to put in the work yourself to build you a beautiful truck, you know, as long as the outcome looks good and is a nice truck, companies will take you seriously. You know, I went a lot over budget on this truck. I realized I don't have the kind of money that some of these big players have in like the SEMA show truck game. But at the end of the day, I think I ended up with a really nice, show-worthy truck that is still daily driverable. Now, due to the YouTube channel, Instagram, my social media presence, the fact that I carry myself somewhat professionally in the videos, I'm not out being super controversial, I'm not, you know, just making a bad name for myself to where companies wouldn't want to work with me. I actually have a lot of companies that reach out to me. Now, in the essence of providing you guys with top quality parts and providing you guys with reviews that I want to feel that you guys can trust, I turn down a lot of products, mainly because I only want to run some of the highest quality stuff on my truck. I want to be able to provide to you guys the highest quality stuff. I don't want to preach about some product just because they gave it to me for free and it's garbage. That's just not who I am. That's not how I've lived my life. I don't believe in that. I don't like people that do that because, well, it sells a lot of a really bad product to you guys, and basically you guys become the pawns for that, and it's not cool to me. And remember, just because you see a part or something on somebody's truck, do your research on it yourself. I've got an entire email inbox full of Chinese parts manufacturers or just subpar part manufacturers that want to send parts for the truck. And what those companies do is they just blast emails out to everybody who's got a decent Instagram following or a decent social media following. And it's always funny when I see the YouTubers or the Instagrammers that actually go for those products and all of a sudden they're really trying to pimp out those products on their pages, and it's just junk. So make sure you do your research on especially a lot of these little parts that you're going to see floating around on people's vehicles. So if you're thinking you're going to get some overnight success in terms of building a show truck, getting a bunch of companies to reach out to you, it doesn't work that way. You know, I've been working on the Instagram page for a really long time. I've been working on the YouTube channel for a couple years, and I'm finally to the point where I think I've got people's attention in terms of companies, but I've also produced a product, and that's the most important thing. I know a lot of people that got SEMA sponsorships and didn't show up to SEMA. And what happens there? Well, depending on what company you worked with, you probably signed a contract. And guess what? If they gave you anything free and you don't show up, you now owe for those parts. And you can only imagine how bad that makes you look in the future if you ever try to get sponsorships again. So if you are lucky enough or you're working with a good enough company that's willing to sponsor you, make sure you deliver. I mean, I don't care if it's in the whatever show you said you're going to go to parking lot. you're out there bolting stuff on, you need to make sure you deliver, because these companies sent you product with the understanding that you are going to provide a service for them. So I'm still kind of new to the process, but I think the fact that I delivered a truck complete to SEMA, maybe next year when I come up with a concept prior to me purchasing all the suspension parts and all the expensive stuff, maybe at that point we reach out to companies and then we get a bigger break, or we try to negotiate a better deal on part prices. And once again, I'm not sure, you know, we'll see. This is my first year going to SEMA. Next year is going to be my next year of trying to figure out what it takes to maybe do it again. You know, I'm learning as I go, and I'm trying to provide content to you guys about what I'm learning, so hopefully you guys learn as well, and without having to spend a ton of money to learn from my experiences. And speaking of getting the suspension components and all that sponsored next year, on this truck, I was actually supposed to have almost the entire truck built for free. I'm not going to say what company, but a company reached out and they wanted to essentially handle the entire truck build for free. But as you guys know from me, number one, I don't like to be controlled. The reason I work for myself, the reason I own my own business, is because I don't really work too well with being controlled. I don't like it. And I can't go into too many details about their contract, even though I didn't sign it, but you know, these contracts are confidential and I respect what they do. So, you know, the contract works for some people, for me it doesn't work. But essentially, the truck became theirs for a year. If they did all that, you have to have their giant logo on the side. I know you guys actually like the giant logos on the side of this truck, and I did too. It was not that company, by the way. Don't think it was the wheel company, but you had to have their giant logo on the side of the truck. And then if I remember correctly, the truck was essentially theirs for a year. Any truck show they wanted it at, you had to get it there. Any media they wanted it in, you had to get it there and handle it. I don't have the kind of time to be driving my truck around or shipping my truck around for another company. That's just crazy to me. Let alone the cost of shipping these things is astronomically expensive. And to me, I just don't like to be controlled like that. So yes, I could have almost got an entire truck built for free, but it was not worth it. I'd rather spend the money and it's my truck. I get to do with it what I want. I don't have to abide by some year contract or anything like that. So I opted out of it. I said, no, I appreciate the offer, but I think I'm gonna go a different route. Certain companies only have so much in their budget for parts to give away for sponsorships. So if you get towards the end of the year or you get closer to SEMA and they've already used up all those spots in their budget, you're gonna be out of luck. And also, if you don't hear back from them, don't be afraid to reach out to them on a different platform. There is a chance they just didn't respond to you, but there's also a chance they didn't see it. And also, don't get mad if they turn you down. You know, they may politely turn you down, they may just not respond to you, whatever it is. A lot of the parts that I got on this truck were parts that I already wanted. So if there was a company I reached out to and they didn't respond to me, I was still probably gonna end up buying their product. And here's probably the most important one that you guys should remember. Don't expect sponsors to build your entire truck for you. Don't expect sponsors to build most of your truck for you. You need to have in your budget the money to complete the truck. I would say mostly on your own if need be, because like I said earlier, there's a chance parts are gonna show up not powder coated. There's a chance you're gonna have to get things installed. You're gonna have to pay for the installation. You're gonna have to deal with some fab work or whatever it takes to make something work. And that all adds up really, really, really quick. So if you get a part for free and you don't have the money to back the install, the finish on it and all that, you're gonna let that company down. You're gonna end up having to pay for that part, and you're gonna end up burying yourself really quick in debt on your truck build. So what did it take for me to get my truck sponsored for SEMA? Spent a lot of money. But in the end, guys, would I do it the same way? Absolutely. I mean, I may change a little bit up here and there in terms of how we dealt with things, but for the most part, I would handle that process exactly the way we did it. I don't mind fronting the money. I was gonna build the truck the way you see it anyway. So whether or not companies jumped on board, if anything, it was just so we can help each other out, and that's what it is. It's a big relationship. I've met a lot of great companies. I'm working with a lot of great companies now thanks to this truck build, and I look forward to the future and a lot of stuff that we're gonna be able to pull off with either this truck or future trucks. Now as the storm clouds are rolling in, and before we put the truck away, I have to say the coolest part of the truck is watching it go up and down, and I haven't done it in a couple days, so more so for myself to sit here and play with it. Amazes me every time. I mean, I should really like get this next to something that's lifted, because Carlos's truck's about a 14-inch lift, and I'm pretty sure this sits a lot higher than that, so I'd say that's almost equivalent to like a 16-inch lift in the rear. Stand back and watch. I love it. Absolutely love it. So with that, before it starts raining, we're gonna wrap this video up. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you got some insight now into kind of how the world of sponsorships and building trucks, building cars, obviously all of what I said applies to cars, vehicles, motorcycles, boats, whatever it may be that you're trying to get parts sponsored for, or whatever it may be. But as you guys know, I try to provide content that you guys can learn from. That being said, I would be very honored if you guys would subscribe to my channel. That way you do not miss out on any more future content, future inside videos. I love to provide behind the scenes stuff. I love to provide in front of the scenes stuff. We got a lot more content coming for the truck. Hopefully the rain stops so we can actually take it out and do some stuff, but it's looking like tomorrow we'll have no more rain and then we can go play with the truck some more. Also, don't forget to give this video a like, aka a thumbs up. Don't forget to check out workforitapparel.com, because if there's anything you want in this life, you gotta be willing to work for it. Even getting a sponsorship, guys. Sponsorships are not just cut and dry. It's super easy, it's free, everything's handed to you. It's not how it works. It takes a lot of work. You gotta provide on your promises. You gotta do the social media posting. You've gotta put out the videos. You've gotta put out the content to get them their money's worth of exposure. It's a lot of work, guys. You know, I think I forgot to mention earlier, one company wanted to give me like a $400 thing, but I was required to send 3 high-resolution pictures a month to their social media guy for a year, which essentially now you're working however many hours a week for that company for a $400 part. I'd rather spend the $400. It just monetarily wise makes more sense to me. My time's worth more than what the part was they would have given to me. So keep that in mind for stuff as well. As always, you guys are the best. I really appreciate the platform. I appreciate all you guys reaching out to me on social media, and I just appreciate you guys helping to grow this channel as big as it has gotten already. And let's just continue to grow into the new year, and you know, the sky's the limit. I'm willing to put in the work, and hopefully you guys are willing to stay with the channel. So thank you guys so much for watching. You're the best. I gotta get this truck put away before it rains. I'm out.
Damn. Yeah. Yeah.